You're watching this week's show with Dan and Mike.
So we've skipped from the vault this week.
Because it will still be in the vault for a later time.
But not only that, it actually came off the back of...
It's that time of year where we look at our top 10 albums of the year and, you know, do a radio show about picking our favourite albums. And this man here quite often will go, I've done it myself actually, haven't I?
Yeah.
Like pick an album that you've been listening to all year thinking, it probably came out in February. It came out the year before.
Yeah. Whereas this wasn't quite that.
It wasn't quite that. It was, yeah.
Well, so to set the scene, Mike had left last week's podcast recording. And I was talking to our manager, Heidi, about a band that I had found that we had both been listening to a lot.
I hadn't quite left because you mentioned the band as I was leaving. You were like, I might have a new act that have dived straight into my top 10. I'm like...
That bit, yes.
We haven't played them on the radio show and you haven't been talking about them. Who the hell's this then?
And then my brain broke about 20 minutes after that point when Heidi informed me that the band that I had been obsessing over, singing along, learning the lyrics, forming an emotional connection.
Did you buy merch?
No, fortunately.
Not
I
yet.
would be even more about no, definitely
not.
I can't listen to it the way I did before because the band that I was into, that I got really emotionally invested in, is completely AI.
Oh!
Yes. Now,
oops. Put that sound effect in if you like.
AI has been a developing part of our show now for about 2 years. Because
it's got its fun side to it. And
we do our promo pitches in a silly AI form. We decide different characters each week.
Quite recently, we looked like members of...
SpongeBob SquarePants.
I was going to say Rick and Morty.
Well, we've done both in the recent times.
Yeah.
But we also use AI to clip our... we decided full disclosure. We use AI, like most people do, to clip our podcast reels and our radio show reels for social media. Because...
time is money.
Well, not only that, but we're all dyslexic. At varying levels, which is why we've got each other's backs when it comes to getting most typos, apart from apparently Raul from Enter Shikari.
Oh, yeah. Raul.
Raul. You can check out the reel because it's still in the subtitles, but we did change the bio. But the reason being is we all have main jobs. We all have a life as well as what we do here. And we do 2 podcasts a week. We do a 2-hour radio show a week. Even
if that life is what sat at home watching AI podcasts of cats doing podcasts.
I mean, one of us watch AI podcasts. I fill my time with watching apparently what is socially acceptable is CGI movies instead. But we'll get into that in a sec. Because, like I said, we use it for that. We also use it, this podcast will be launched with a AI transcript of what we've said into an AI bio generator to give us better bios than what these 2 tired old people do bios. Because we got to the point with our YouTube channel where it was lucky if it had a bio, and most of the time it was Mike James Rock Show, sat down with this band at this festival, full stop, bio done. Because we're not creative writers and we never have been. It's always been a failing point of the show. And then we got Heidi in as our manager. She was then finding the tiring thing with writing bios constantly. Mike,
we do a lot of content.
Yes. Mike got us onto Opus for that. We combined it with various other ones like ChatGDP and Perplexity and various things. And so they do what our dyslexia can't. So we do have AI across our entire product. The problem I found, because it's the thing which I genuinely, we had a week to prepare for this. Mike's gone in one direction and he's gone industry side on where AI is, where it's currently getting labels and stuff like that. Whereas I decided to trick as many people as I could and find out whether I was the only one with this overwhelming sense of betrayal.
Yeah.
So I've managed to get 10 people, including one of my students, because we always talk music. He's a sound producer. I obviously do this. And without fail, with varying times of getting to the same point, the same thing has been said by everybody is, it's great. I love the way it sounds, but I can't keep listening to it because there's nobody behind it. There's no vocalist to connect with. Now, we've talked about connecting to vocalists before because I can't, in good conscience, listen to Lost Prophets because I sing along. And I want to support the other band members, which is why I support them in any other project that they're in, like that.
Low Lives!
Love Low Lives. Love supporting the other guys in there, especially after they did that podcast with Sapning where they explained how little they did actually know. And I agree with the guitarist on that if he's willing to beat the living crap out of Ian Watkins for missing a gig, what do you think he would do to him if he actually knew what he was up to in his spare time? I kind of agree with that standpoint, and there is the footage of the face.
Quite luckily, someone did it for him.
Yes, we're very pleased that evil presence in the world is now gone. But connection to a vocalist is something that we've talked about over time.
You have disdain for Phil Anselmo as well, don't you?
I can't in good conscience because I'm one of the rare people that I respect the legacy of Pantera and Dimebag, and we've even done a Vinnie Paul one, but I also struggle with the fact that Dimebag played a Confederate flag guitar. Vinnie Paul often had a Confederate flag up in his little boudoir
skins as well, yeah.
On his skins.
But they're from Texas.
True.
And it was different times when we interviewed them.
True. The reason I don't do the Phil thing is because in a time where he was aware, and it wasn't just a Texas thing, there were certain chants from stage, and I can't connect with him anymore. Shout out Star is I had, she's now a friend, but I had a student who was black in teaching to drive. She knows what I did with the radio show. She knows that I go to festivals. And when she saw Pantera playing, she's like, I'm going to see if I can, use my stored up emotional blackmail. She's like, if I ask you not to go, will you not go? And I was like, okay, yeah. And I was like, because I got asked by somebody that his words affected, I didn't go. But this shows that I'm clearly not the only person that connects with a vocalist and connects with who the person is. One of the reasons why Bad Omens is so good right now is because when you hear Dying to Love or some of the other more recent ones, Scepter and, to be honest, the whole of Death of Peace of Mind, is you connect with Noah or the writing team that Noah is at the head of, because the rest of the band couldn't. But you know that there's a person there.
Yes.
That the words firstly come from, and then the resonance of tone and the feeling of emotion also comes from that person. The problem was...
relatable, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think I've worked out one of the reasons I felt so betrayed compared to everybody I played it to, is I was weeks deep into listening to it, and I had said to our manager mostly, and fortunately she's a very lovely person, so she's not mocked me mercilessly, but I kept saying, just listen to this acoustic version, how good does his voice sound?
Oh, they've done an acoustic version as well.
So to just do a history, they were created in July 2025.
Wow, only a few months old and they're already in your top 10 albums of the year.
They are not. They were, but they're not now. Created by Andrew Freelon and Suno. They currently have over 1 million monthly listeners. They have something like a 10-track album. They also have a 5-track EP, which is the track I Got Caught, is from that EP. They then have an entire acoustic album, which is everything that they've released off the album and the EP done acoustically. All of it's fake.
And all of it since July
all of it's
2025.
Which was one of the things that when I was doing a little bit of research for Album of the Year, wondering what does this track tie to? I was like, why have they released an album in July and then an EP and then an acoustic everything both in August? Like, the release schedule should have made me realise that I wasn't dealing with what I normally deal with.
We're so deep within release schedules that we're on the radio show. We're now playing tracks for albums that are coming out in March of 2026. This is how we know album cycles, EP releases.
I should have known. It's like in a horror movie where you're waiting for the big reveal. Is they've actually told you in different ways across the whole movie what's going on.
And then there's the scary music, so the jump scares coming.
And then you finally get it. It's like
I'll be right back.
Or it's more like Fight Club, where the Tyler Durden reveal, if you're smart enough, you can work it out. But most people get the misdirection leads you away. Now,
wait, what? Sixth Sense as well is...
Misdirection, The Prestige, Inception, all of this is deliberate misdirection.
Sleight of hand.
Now
you see me.
Heidi pointed out that the way that they formed all of their bios, the videos that they've put up, whilst they have lawyered themselves to hell because there is in there that it's AI, it's what we would call the small print from the 90s.
It's buried. It's a
It
deep
is buried.
cut.
They've even got AI fake vocal performances with a vocalist on their
Oh, on
Instagram.
Spotify, wasn't it? It's like the background video that loops.
And they have, like somebody's done, like their vocalist has done a one take on their own Instagram,
Yes.
but it's all fake.
It's crazy.
It's all fake.
Oh, yeah, because you were showing me, and the one take doesn't look like any of the members in the photo on their profile picture.
Exactly that.
A bit like us hiding behind AI. Doesn't look like us, but I
least
look like
on the-
SpongeBob now.
At least on the podcast, we do actually look like us. Though we are, off the back of this, we're going to try a couple of different and see whether it's even worth posting. But we're going to give the whole raw file of this podcast to AI and see whether it sends bombers after us to bomb the podcast studio because it realises that we're annoyed with AI, or whether it gives us a completely different product.
Either that, or My James Rock Show now becomes a household name because AI is just like loves us, takes us, and
You're talking about it.
We get 1 million views on Spotify.
This is their album launch via the Mike James Rock Show. I mean, come on. The funny thing is that we, like me and you, have lost each other over this week in so many conversations where we've, in preparation for this, we keep bringing up different interesting examples of does AI compare to Autotune, for example, or what was yours, digital re-releases?
Yeah, because I was going back and looking at the Smashing Pumpkins. They did loads of bands did it in the, I guess, just as the internet and digitization was coming to the forefront sort of 15, 20 years ago. And, you'll have the same album, but it's just digitally, remastered, they say.
And often...
but basically, like, it was recorded in analog, so it was all curves, and now it's all zeros and ones.
And you can have a slightly different sound. But
Nowadays, you can get that kind of, it's going to sound technical, but air valve sound.
Yeah.
A lot of guitars back then, guitar amps ran on air valves and valves and...
Well, living in a valve state, name themselves after that valve sound.
Whereas now, it's gone, it goes the other way.
Yeah.
And it's all digital, but now you can get digital programs to make your digital amp sound like a valve amp. Why not just plug your guitar into a valve amp?
Well, again, if you can't afford one for recording and you're not going to use it for any other purpose...
It's true, because now you can just jam your guitar or whatever straight into your laptop and it gives you that sound or a billion other sounds as well. You play one note and it's like, oh, was that a piano? No, it was a saxophone. No, it was a guitar. What?
I've actually thought of something which I haven't raised to you yet because I wanted to do it because I think you might like it. Because it's based on something that we did on the radio show this week. Because Mike interviewed Grey Daze.
Yes.
So Grey Daze is Chester Bennington of Linkin Park's first ever band.
From school.
Where
they met.
And Grey Daze relaunched themselves a couple of years ago with original recordings of Chester Bennington. Bennington, sorry, I can never get that right.
So, basically, short little story, they found a bunch of ADAT recordings, which is what you used to record music on. It's like a cartridge kind of thing back in the 90s. And they found it's taken from the stem, so it's all individual. Drums are on one ADAT, vocals on the other, and they found all the original ones, and it was of songs that were never released that featured Chester's vocals of songs that he had written with the band, and they just never released it. So what they did is they took those ADATs and worked backwards. Normally when you record a band, you lay the drums down and then the instruments and vocals. They did it the other way around. They had the vocals and then they had to try and work a way of getting recording the instruments to work with the vocals. And that was...
Grey Daze return.
Yeah, but they did it in the old school kind of mixing and producing way in a studio. But they had people like POD on there, Korn, Head from Korn was involved. They had all these people that absolutely idolised Chester to come in and do that project.
Emotional connection.
It was the emotional connection, 100%, yeah.
So, on one hand, Grey Daze is a great example of even if the recording is old and unreleased, as you said, so many people came to work with Grey Daze because it was actual Chester recordings. Do you think that the Pokemon version done by Chester, the AI, so the Pokemon theme tune, Gotta Catch 'Em All, there is a very famous Chester version that has been done with AI, which still sounds like Chester. Do you think that people would connect anywhere near as much with the... I know it's Pokemon theme, so forgive that. But people went, cool, that's scary because it sounds like Chester. Whereas Grey Daze had everybody that knew Chester connecting with it, coming in and recording it. And me and you said in the studio, it's haunting. The goose flesh came up listening to Chester's voice again. I didn't get that when I listened to the Pokemon theme.
I think
that's where the difference
I think
lies.
You could tell the difference because, like you said, it's Chester. There's no way Chester would have put anything out like that. Whereas an original song with his voice on has, like you said, that emotional connection, which is why you got duped by Bleeding, because it has that
emotional connection.
It pulls at your heartstrings. Like for me, if I listen to Bring Me to Life by Evanescence, always the hairs on my arms and my neck stands up. But if I haven't actually listened to your album yet,
well, you've had one track, so you had an idea.
I had no physical reaction to it. But I think that is because I wasn't one of the 10 that you sent it to, so I didn't. I already knew it was AI when you played it to me.
Exactly. So
but if I didn't
protected.
know it was AI, it could have,
Interestingly enough, the student that I teach to drive, that produces, he had one of the most interesting opinions about it, because he said one of the things that was getting him, and he thought it was just a production choice, not the fact it was AI, is one of the things that he likes is that certain Chester-esque, or you could even say, I can never remember his name, but... Lorna Shore's vocalist.
Will Ramos.
Thank you, Will. Noah Sebastian, Maddie Mullins. Dayseeker, in fact. Ollie Sykes. Take any vocalist that currently is like lighting people up and smashing it. You know from a certain way that they breathe or a certain way that they drop in off a note, you know it's human because AI doesn't know how to do something like the certain way that Chester would bend a note, the certain way that Noah...
resonance, isn't it?
But it's a lot more than that. Throat shape, cadence, it's so many different things. And that, quicker than anybody else, before I told him it was AI, my student picked up on that because he was like, the thing that's getting me is like, I know you're playing this for a reason. So I'm like hyper aware. He's like, but his notes are too clean. He's like, is it like a guy that doesn't know how to sing an Autotune, funnily enough? I was like, no, it's pure AI. There is nobody sat behind it. He's like, no wonder. He's like, because there's no breath, there's no drop in, there's no individuality. He's like, whilst there's vibrato and there's interesting bits to it, you know, there's a certain way that only Ollie Sykes sounds when he does certain notes, certain words.
We saw it at Reading. Like, obviously that was a live performance, but you get that from Bring Me's tracks. You have the raw emotions. It's so raw on the track that when he sings it live, the emotion takes over and he bursts into tears because it's so
flopped
raw
on stage because it meant so much.
And it's that thing. It's like, well, you say you go to a funeral and they play that one song that person that's died absolutely adored. And you might have thought that song was rubbish because they played over and over again. And every time we went out, they'd asked the DJ for it, but it's their song and we'll remember them for that song. But you put that song on at the funeral.
The context has changed.
And then the context changed and and then, you know, months later, you're driving somewhere and it comes on the radio and you're used to it being like on a Saturday night down the pub having, and all of a sudden you're sat driving along, bawling your eyes out at a Spice Girls track or whatever.
And then I think that's a good example.
It's changed the
meaning for
the meaning and the physical reaction to it. Whereas the original physical reaction would have been, party time, let's go, drink, whatever it is. And then the next time you hear it, like, it's like, oh, this reminds me of, we had some wicked times. And then you're reminiscing and you've got the history with that song connecting you to a certain place. It's like...
And Are we going to hand that off to... Because this was the thing, is the longest anybody that I tricked lasted was half an hour before they couldn't listen to it anymore.
Was that half an hour after you told them it was AI?
Yes.
Okay.
So everybody got the same fair shot, as I said to every single person, and we're talking different ages, different interests, not just metalheads. And I said, I want you to listen to this track. Tell me when you've listened to it and your thoughts. Then I'll tell you why I'm making you do this.
Did anyone come back to you and go, are you in a new band?
No,
Did they think it was you?
No, because most people know that I want to sing that way but can't. But no, there was like the range of emotions was immediate. I had one person just go, you can't tell me that because I'm now just so sad because I want to connect with this and I can't. And then, like I say, there was the one person that lasted half an hour going, no, I'm going to keep this on whilst I do the washing up. And then the more that they listened to it, and other tracks, they just...
Those pots were getting scrubbed.
they said, they're like, no, it got to the point where I just couldn't, because you do start analysing the lyrics. Because the track that got us was Only When It's You. And the main vocal line of the chorus is, I only feel safe when it's you. That's such a from the heart, as the Andrew Freelon put it, it's from the heart lyrics. It doesn't even say like human written, but from the heart. I mean, you don't know. And I started making a joke of, I only feel safe when it's AI because of the emotional connection I had. But it's when you start breaking down like what is actually quite beautiful lyrics in some ways, and then you realise that it's written by the same type of thing that runs your Facebook ads, that's where the disconnect sits. And that's where I think that all of the examples, we had Autotune versus AI, CGI versus AI.
Well, Autotune's been around for ages and ages. If you think like the big one that everyone was like, oh, that's a different sound. What is it? Would have been that Believe by Cher, which was a global club banger, and it just showed what this new invention is. But then you had someone like T-Pain that absolutely like just decimated the everything, so much so that huge global megastars were like, you've destroyed hip hop. We can't do anything now. But now T-Pain is back singing as himself, and he's got an amazing voice.
Well, he did a metal track, didn't he?
He did,
live.
Yeah.
But T-Pain was a precursor of our biggest Autotune artist, that me and you have watched both mid-stage on Reading and then headlining next year. Posty.
Yeah.
Post Malone. And I love Post Malone for one reason above anything else, is he has said multiple times that I'm a clever guy that learnt how to use Autotune differently to other people, but I would
Sounds more natural.
But I would also not have a career if it wasn't for Autotune. That's his own words. That's not a criticism from me. That's Posty saying that. And the fact that he's, like T-Pain, he's working out what his real life voice sounds like, and that's what he did with the remaining members of Nirvana. He did the Nirvana track.
Yeah, Posty did.
Yeah.
But T-Pain is now sort of out there singing as himself, and people are actually like,
I can't believe this is T-Pain.
This dude can actually sing. Well, why did he need the auto-tune?
But he used it as a tool.
Yeah, to make himself rich.
True, but is that any different? Was it Akon that started doing tracks based on ringtones?
Yeah, I think so. But then there was, also, that's how he made I think it was Akon.
Somebody like that made
we'll get our Akon.
Do a little cheeky search on
ringtones. I'm pretty sure that's how he made most of his money, was
because he realised that he could make money that way. So his songs are entirely written around a ringtone length hook that he knew people would use as a ring. If it's not Akon, somebody has done this.
But that was what you're saying with CGI as well. That was coming around like the late 90s. That kind of thing was the instigator of getting this new technology into people's heads, and it's like, what's the way to do it if you want this to become the new global way of working with AI and everything, is to introduce it in fun ways, like having Cher sing a song where she goes, "Whoa," and everyone can imitate it. It's
we got it right.
Akon,
yeah, perfect, cool.
So and the same with CGI in films, because back then it was just the start of like the Marvel boom. Well,
you remember what early CGI movies were like. And I'm not talking like 300 that was done well or Sin City.
Yeah.
I'm talking like some of the really awful ones that were trying to do it for the first time, like Ultraviolet. Do you remember that movie?
Well, the original Hulk as well.
I mean, they did the thing where they most of it was a human story with only a few minutes of the Hulk.
Whereas now it's most actors, they go to drama college and get their degrees from,
and then they learn
thespians, and then they have to learn to act against a tennis ball.
Not only that, but don't forget, Ian McKellen.
Yes.
Loved working on Lord of the Rings, the trilogy of Lord of the Rings.
Sir Ian McKellen.
Sorry, Sir Ian McKellen. And he's very famous.
He's a thespian, isn't he?
Yeah.
A proper...
And he didn't realise he was still mic'd up when he was doing the Hobbit movies. And he started crying on set because he said that when I was doing Lord of the Rings, if the script said that we were on a mountain range, we were actually on a mountain range. He's like, I'm not used to looking at just green, like, mounts of stuff and being okay with it. But then, flip it on its head, you've got RDJ, Tom Holland, Chris Pratt, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, there's a lot of Chris's in the Avengers. All of them were coaching other people on how to do good green screen acting because it's been such a big part of their career to be against a green screen.
Yeah, it's like films used to like trigger imagination and same as books in your own head, whereas now the actors have to have the imagination.
Good way of putting it.
It's like,
you gotta, and again, like you see some of the scenes with the Hulk, as you say, there's a tennis ball with Hulk's face on it at the height that they're meant to do. But how?
Yeah, so you're looking in the right direction.
But how difficult is it when you've got the actual mouth and the point of sound coming from a different thing and trying to not flick your eyes down? It's like that's
why they're good actors. That's why they're in these films, because they're actors.
Exactly, but it's one of those things that I can understand why Ian McKellen, that had spent so long in his career doing things the old school way, was suddenly really struggling with having just cues to go with. Shout out Angelina Jolie on Eternals, though. She's the one that realised that they could put a laser dot for the deaf actress that played one of the Eternals, remove it with CGI. And so they actually were laser pointing for the deaf actress so there would be a laser pointer on the person's chin that was speaking. And the deaf actress could then track the conversation without having to, because she was fully deaf, playing a deaf character. But
representation there.
But Angelina Jolie was the smart one that went, we can just remove this dot afterwards. Why are you guys worrying about it? And I like, that's cool. That's good use.
That's the thing now, isn't it? If you make a mistake, fix it in post. Whereas if we...
No, this is the funny thing. Sorry to interrupt. I watched a reel the other day that I showed our manager from one of the games, like gaming consoles we were talking about. In the cutscene, the voice actor goes, I ballsed that up, let me try again. But they clearly handed it off to the animation team without checking it, because not only is it in the actual audio, but the character speaks the mistake. So there's proof that it's definitely real, but only because they keep a mistake of the voice actor in there. It was quite interesting to see. There was just clearly the animation tool is now you can just tell it to do a passage and it'll animate it.
Like last night, before I was doing some background info on AI and music and film and stuff, and I ended up losing half an hour or so watching cats do podcasts.
Yeah,
and someone's obviously programmed it in as a podcast. And then they put the animation over the top of these two cats just laughing at each other and chatting.
You might find that we do a cat version of this with our AI experiment.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like with the CGI tennis balls, like I don't think I could do what we're doing right now, spitballing against one another with a tennis ball.
Well, we found it hard enough when we moved out of our live FM studio where we were facing each other to being next to each other looking at the same information, is we lost some of the bounce.
Eye contact.
Yeah. I knew you could tell me that a track wasn't ready to play by just widening the eyes, whereas I don't get that now. Instead, I get patted off screen to where we're being recorded instead to let me know there's an issue. So we worked around it. We found new ways.
You can't see the terror in my eyes now. It's like... Because it's still an FM, did that just have a swear in it?
Or did Dan balls up and actually do it?
Did Dan just do a swear?
Yeah, because I had a habit of once every 2 or 3 years saying the F word because I completely forget myself.
Yes.
But I don't think that we should end this discussion with one podcast. I mean, we're getting close to the time that we said we wanted to dedicate to this.
Yeah, well, just before we move on, I just want to say that you're not the only one that got duped by an AI artist.
Who did? Oh, wait, you've told me a little bit about this, haven't you?
So the BBC have this,
yes.
big British corporation. That's what it stands for. Big British corporation. But they have this thing where if you're a musical artist, you can upload your music to the BBC Introducing. It's segregated around all the regions of the UK. They'll have a show, and the most popular of that show then goes forwards to the Radio 1 Introducing show.
Yeah.
So you could have a band from Cornwall, and then the next one would be from Newcastle, say, for instance.
Okay.
Completely different. It's not always just the same tunes. It's completely different. There's hip hop, there's rock, there's everything. The BBC got duped because someone uploaded an AI assisted tune, and it got put through as their artist of the month.
And we did some research. It's really difficult to find that artist name because if you're the big British corporation, then you can scrub stuff from the internet far better than a lot of people because this has been scrubbed. Like the actual name of the artist.
It's interesting that, if people like the BBC that are supposed to be impartial and have all these stringent things in places, and, it just takes one band or someone just to upload it, and then it's a human that's then picking it to go onto their radio show to be broadcast out to potentially millions of people. And
that nearly happened with the first project of Andrew Freelon, because he was the one behind Velvet Sundown.
Oh, yeah.
And they're the ones that didn't clarify in small print that they are AI.
And they were the kind of
rocky one,
yeah, bluesy rock, weren't
Whereas I think partly because they were named in the bio. This Bleeding Verse is based off of Holding Absence and Dayseeker. I personally think that it's also based off of Bad Omens, but Bad Omens have got a far
bigger label
have got a bigger legal team behind them, so they're not putting Bad Omens' name against it. But that got the filter of one Lucas Woodland.
Of course.
It's even been featured on Rolling Stone how unhappy he is, because I'm just going to look at the quote, because he said it was shocking, disheartening, insulting. It creates an impossibility of competition, and for bands and labels this is a wake-up call because of the sheer amount of numbers. They're getting more monthly listens than the band they're based off.
Yeah.
And I love Holding Absence.
But even those numbers would be bots listening, I would imagine.
How far does it go?
But how can you tell?
That's
you go
also,
on Spotify, it just says you have so many monthly listens. It doesn't say...
Spotify says it's not bots. Spotify says that they haven't breached any terms of...
as in the upload, but how... Yeah.
No, even the listens they haven't breached anything at the moment, because you can track in the same way that when you used to be able to buy likes on Facebook, is you can track whether it's bot accounts under a paid thing. Because they all come from like a server farm IP address and stuff like that. So at the moment, Bleeding Verse is not being taken down, and it's just a discussion that's out in the world. So I think that this is one of the few that we should revisit a little bit later, because you've got your eye on the hip-hop labels.
Well, Timbaland, very well-known artist, producer, label owner, not just the shoes.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with him. But he has set up his own AI label called Stage Zero.
Yeah.
He signed an AI act called Tata, T-A-T-A, and they're producing what they're calling A-pop music, not K-pop, but A-pop.
A-pop for AI pop, I get it.
Artificial pop.
Not only that.
But there's other ones. There's ones like Neon Pulse Records, which is 100% AI hardcore hip-hop.
And the one I found in my research is that the same tool that was used to create Bleeding Verse, Suno, is now in partnership with Warner Music.
That's huge.
Where Warner Music acts can offer their trademark sound, vocals, maybe not that he's on Warner Music, but Tom Morello's guitar style would be an individual sound. Bands have to opt in for Suno to be able to use the likeness. But it is
Warner. If you were a band, though, why would you opt in? Is there a financial off of this? Because if you're in a band,
but
and
that's
your
why
music
Warner could have signed the deal, because if stuff, and this is where the legal quagmire is going to get really thick, is I imagine Warner's done it so that they can make money off of the AI sound.
Yes.
And that would also mean that their artists would make a certain amount of money off of it as well.
Because I know there are actors that have given their voices, like Michael Caine, I think, is one of them, and
was Carrie Fisher? She gave full permission to be AI for the last movie.
And what's the guy, the actor? All right.
Matthew McConaughey.
He's recently done it, but they got paid out some top dollar to have their voices used.
I mean, again, could you see a company like Cameo buying the AI rights to somebody's voice, because then you could have a celebrity message?
Well, there's a company
and they
that
never
we've used before to do our drop-ins and jingles and stuff, and they have got the Morgan Freeman, which is, the voice of God. Imagine the voice of God introducing, and coming up next, the Mike James Rock Show. That was rubbish, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean, yeah. This is why I think, because like I say, we're getting very close to the point which we said we'd wrap up. Because
tap out. We've got a hard out.
On Saturday, what was it, like 2 hours we spoke about this for a 45-minute podcast? I think we should come back to this. I have already outreached to Lucas.
Maybe Easter would be a good time, because that's like 4 months away, isn't it? And in this world, that is a long time for, by then, the whole world could be run by AI.
We never know. But I've outreached to Lucas from Holding Absence. He did respond and say that at the moment he's not doing interviews about this. I think partly because they're out of tour cycle, so he wants to be able to talk something positive.
Yeah.
But he did say, you can guarantee that I'm going to be bringing this up in interviews on my tour cycle. And he's like,
of course.
And then there was some swear words. So I want to see whether we can touch base with stuff like that. I want to keep building what I've been doing and getting more people to give me opinions on it. And so this is where we're going to say in the comments, listen to Bleeding Verse, listen to The Velvet Sundown, listen to Tata.
I don't know if they've released anything, but search out Stage Zero label through Timbaland. And
then let us know in the comments what you think about AI music. We want to build a discussion about this. I'm taking Lucas Woodland's words that this is a wake-up call, and we have a platform to be able to create discussion. So therefore, this is our attempt at creating some discussion. Should AI music be allowed? Should there be curbs on it? Should there be a stamp like there has to be on Lad Bible videos now where it said made with AI? Should that
would make a lot more sense. You used to have the parental advisory sticker, so you have that because it's got swear words in it, and then have an AI sticker underneath.
Parental AIzery. Thank you.
That's the perfect way to end the podcast. One last thing. So what album's going to go into your top 10 now? Because you've got to go and listen to a whole load of new music to get your top 10
To be honest, I was trying to justify putting this in because I only liked a few tracks at that point. So I've actually given myself an easier time with my top 10 because at least I know every other band. So shout out bands like We Came as Romans, I Prevail. All of those types of bands are actually going to make up my top 10 because I know this was the one that I didn't know much about, a bit like The Darkest Moment a couple of years ago. But fortunately, before I actually started doing my top 10, this AI reveal happened and the discussion happened afterwards. So, yeah.
And also, watch out in case this isn't us and it's AI that's... you could be watching an AI podcast, so...
If we look like cats, then this is the version that went through AI.
Either way, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and
join us next week.
Yeah, join us next week. And if you're a bot, hit all those likes and notifications.
Yeah, no, you're a bot. It takes you no effort. Do it. Come on, AI. Support us. We just talked about you for 45 minutes.
We bigged up AI for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
You can big us up.
Yeah.
Make us household names. Mike James Rock Show.
And that's the end of the podcast.